hoping to have that shirt out next week.
I was going to say, you got to time it.
I know. You definitely have to time it. All right. So we're going to start. We're going to bring you in.
Okay. So I have to be quiet and pretend that I don't exist.
Yes.
Noted.
Yes.
That's what Teddy says every time I do TV and he's there.
All right.
Hang on.
What do you got to do? Oh, yeah. We're getting that live. Blowing your nose live on YouTube.
At least it wasn't into Brooks'
It's also
mic.
musical.
Minute, and I'll be holding on. I'm excited.
You ready?
Yes.
You are. How much coffee have you had?
Are you going to
today?
play it?
How many? What? Oh,
the
the
music.
No. That's for the pot. No. I have something else though.
Ay.
I have something else that I got some new stuff. We'll drop it in there. You ready?
Yep. See, I got no.
What?
I got to turn it off. See, last week I didn't have it on.
What was that?
I guess I have to have it on.
What do you have to have?
Remember
on?
last week we were at the Butcher's Market on Lake Boone Trail. Go check them out.
Yeah.
But I didn't have the comments distracting me. On Thursdays.
Yeah, turn them off.
I'm like squirrel.
Yeah, you are a squirrel today. All right, ready? Let's do this.
It's already rolling. You don't have to be performative.
I am. I have to reset for the podcast itself as an audio mark so I know what I'm doing because the podcast is different than the YouTube live. Okay.
Let's podcast.
Wow, so sarcastic. Should I change it? Do I have to come up with a new intro?
Ooh, that was for you.
Do I have to do a new intro?
No.
Okay. I won't put it on a t-shirt then.
Okay. I get something else for a t-shirt.
Let's podcast alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovies. It is a Sleek Fleet OG Live. It's Thursday. It's past 2:00. It's time to go. Check them out online at sleek-fleet.com. I know you tweeted it out earlier today. You headed to a hockey game like tonight. Maybe you want to roll up to a party in style. Maybe you just need to get a bunch of people to the airport. Sleek Fleet.
Even better, what if you want to go to the OG tailgate on February 24th, which is a Saturday Canes game, 8:00, PNC parking lot? What if you feel like having a couple of beverages? What if you don't feel like paying $40 to park? What if you don't feel like sitting in traffic after the game? Hit up Tyler at sleek-fleet.com right now. Do it. Go sleek-fleet.com. Also, follow them on the Instagrams. Follow us on the Instagrams. We're going to give away 2 lucky winners. There's an asterisk there. You have to live somewhere close to us, though. we aired last time in this.
Lesson learned, man.
Pretty please. Raleigh, Garner, Clayton, Holly Springs, all good. Cary, all good. We got you. Follow us on the socials. Follow Sleek Fleet. So go to sleek-fleet.com. Find them on the Instas. Tyler's crew does such a great job.
You may have heard the Super Bowl's on Sunday.
Is it?
Is it the Super Bowl or is it the Taylor Swift event of 2024? We shall see. Let's talk to the expert, shall we?
We're moving on.
Let's bring on Brooke Pryor, ESPN. She's in the house. She's Swifty number 1. Hi, Brooke. How are you?
I'm great.
Wait, let me turn your mic on.
Yeah,
Here we
you
go.
gotta turn the hot mic
I'm
on.
great. I am thrilled to be an expert in Taylor Swift. I've really worked my whole life for this.
Well, here's my question. If you're going to go to a Super Bowl party, would you not want to go to a Taylor Swift Super Bowl party? I feel like Swifties would have the best party this weekend.
Yeah, nobody knows how to do a theme better than Swifties. As someone who has been quite literally preparing for a Taylor Swift event her whole life, or just a series of Taylor Swift events. I mean, I went to the Eras Tour twice. Hopefully we'll go a third time this fall. I have seen Swifties execute so many different themes. I mean, you got costumes, you got decor. I would want to go to a Taylor Swift Super Bowl party.
Is what you.
If I wasn't working, I would be at one.
Taylor Swift is what you risked life and limb for. This is the one where they're like, "Come stay at our house for free," right?
What?
Hey, didn't you do that?
Didn't you do that over the summer?
Oh, yes,
Yep.
I did. I was so confused what you were talking about. I was like, I mean, yes, I did have that nice gentleman and his daughter and his daughter's friend.
Thank goodness there was a
Stay at
daughter
my
and a
home.
daughter's friend.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have not done a bug sweep of the home since then.
You should.
I probably should. And I'm supposed to take him up on the offer to trade my home for his Airbnb that he has on the Outer Banks in Corolla. He said I can use it one weekend, but that is how horror movies get started. So I have not.
Yeah, don't do that.
I have not done that.
I know what you did last football season.
Do me a favor. Can you move up closer to the mic? Because as hot as that mic is,
I can. Can you turn on my headphones because they're not working, which is why I just
are the headphones not working at all? How about now? Are they working?
I'm hearing nothing.
Oh, geez. Okay, we'll have to try something else.
Which is why I just, popped them off my ears. I assume I'm screaming. The whole building.
No. It's fine. It's fine.
I wanted them to have a live audience.
This is the beauty of everything that's going on live. Let me grab these headphones. I'll grab these headphones.
I'm sorry that my Bose headphones aren't good enough.
All right. So while
are those yours?
They are mine.
While I'm setting up another headphone set.
Oh no! Right, look over there on that red thing right there.
There's
nothing. Those work.
Do they work?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the connection to that nipple. That nipple doesn't like to work.
Oh, hate when that happens.
But I have two nipples.
I know.
Most people do. Don't say we all. You don't know. There could be.
Okay. That one has the right nipple.
Okay, here we go.
Where am I plugging it on?
Plug it on too, and then you should be.
Oh.
I
do.
You have life? Okay.
I do have life. Oh,
perfect.
Thank goodness. I felt so in the dark. Not like my own 2 years work, but I have to have something on top of them too. Not like I can't just hear you guys in the room.
All I'm saying is that this is growth for me, that I'm not having a freak out that all this is happening live and I can't edit it. So it is what it is.
So you'll just do it later. You'll just freak out.
You know
about
me.
It
I get a little.
Well, it does involve technology.
I do get a little perfectionist.
All right. So you're going to Vegas?
No, I'm not going to Vegas, but I will be running the live blog on ESPN.com during the Super Bowl because our trending team likes my voice, and nice. I thought that was very kind of them. Yeah. I hope to bring a little Taylor Swift flavor to it for the dads, Brads, and Chads. Mm-hmm. Also it's
perfect
for the people like me that love football, also love Taylor Swift, are probably. I want to know if anybody is as conflicted as I have been all football season, where I feel like my church friends and my school friends are hanging out, and it's like my Taylor Swift friendships have been very different from my football friendships, and now they're all together, and it has been very overstimulating.
I can see where it can be overstimulating. I can also see where you want to pick a side. And if I'm going to pick a side, I would pick the Swifty side, because football people just don't know how to have fun sometimes.
That's true. Because like I said, the theme of it all, like there are great opportunities for themes for different food, different decorations, for outfits. Like I'm here for all the bedazzling of football things. I really wanted to buy, there's a shirt from Steel City that says Taylor's Bowl.
I like that.
I'm here for that.
I like that.
I was too indecisive, so I didn't order it in time. But I'm here for like the Taylor Swiftification of the Super Bowl.
Have you ever been to a Joe Giglio Super Bowl party?
I've not. No, he's never invited me. Not once.
We might have to change that one year, that you don't have something that you have to do in work and you can show up. Or I don't know, maybe you can live blog from Giglio's house.
Now we're onto something.
We no longer bet on the national anthem. We now bet on how long the person holds the word brave.
Yeah.
So
all Super there are varieties of Super Bowl parties. I've been to Super Bowl parties where nobody cares. I've been to Super Bowl parties where the person hosting it truly cares about their team winning, right? Like this is their chance.
That's not fun.
That is not a fun one. The Giglio household is like three things going on at once because it's very Giglio, right? It's very ADHD, just going all over the place. You don't know where it's going. Number one, it's Jackson's birthday.
It is Jackson's birthday.
Happy 16th birthday to Jackson. I know he turned 16 yesterday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, what a super sweet 16.
Right?
They should make that an MTV show.
My wife won't let me change the year when the Super Bowl was 2-7.
Yeah.
So even though I want to get a new poster and update my poster, she's like, no, that one doesn't say 2-7. His birthday.
Oh, I see. So you got Jackson's birthday party.
Yes.
So you got his people showing up.
Correct.
Right? Then you have the typical pre-game Super Bowl hangout, with the typical neighborhood and your family and your food.
Yeah.
Once the game starts, that's when in previous trips to a Giglio Super Bowl party, I want to leave.
No, we bet on the anthem, the word brave. We bet on the coin toss.
Yeah.
And then we bet on the opening kickoff inside the kickoff. Will it be a touchback? Will it not be a touchback?
Did you ever see the movie Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yeah.
And like outside of the game show, like in the free city, they got a guy taking bets with the chalkboard. That's you.
Yes.
That's like a deep cut. I know that's a deep cut. If
I've
you've
quite
seen,
literally never even heard
if you've
of that.
seen,
Really?
oh yeah, it's one of the
Yeah.
early Arnold movies. It's
Yeah.
it actually predicted a lot of what's going on today in a weird
Is it like The
fashion.
Simpsons?
No, like
In the way
dystopian,
that-
dystopian future, right?
Here's
But
a layer
in the
you've-
dystopian future, Giglio's the guy at the chalkboard taking
Mm.
bets in real time. That's you.
Here's a layer you've missed. Now, even though it's only, I think we do $10 to play, the pot ends up being like $400. So
Oh,
the last
geez.
couple of years, it's been one of James's friends who has won.
Mhm.
So if you're 17 or 18 years old,
That's a
winning
good
that
chunk of
$400
money.
pot, you're like, what? That's so they are all
That's
living
spring break
and
money.
dying with the coin toss and the opening kickoff.
So Brooke is too busy working the
Yeah,
Super
she's
Bowl.
got real
I
work.
have.
And you-
I've hosted a Super Bowl party, but a single one. Yeah.
Okay. Now, here's the fun fact about you. If I have my timeline right,
I'm so scared.
you actually saw Patrick Mahomes lose a Super Bowl.
I did actually. That is a great fun fact. I have. So
She saw it.
This is
I
for my
did.
mojo.
I know. I know that it's
For my
happened.
mojo.
I was thinking about that on the way over here. I have attended 2 Super Bowls, but I've been there for 3 weeks
Yeah.
of them.
Okay.
The first one I went to was Tom Brady's last Super Bowl, the Patriots Rams one that I quite literally fell asleep in the press box because it was so boring and I was so exhausted.
It was a bad game.
It was terrible. The next one was Miami, where the Chiefs won, and I covered everything the week of, and then they beat the 49ers in the game, and I watched from a hotel room and just, had a lot of like feelings because I had just been covering the Chiefs, and now I was with ESPN covering the Steelers that were nowhere near the Super Bowl. And then the next one was the COVID Super Bowl in Tampa, and I went down and I was in the press box. I was covering for the Chiefs side. I was tapped in last minute to go down there. And I was thinking about that the only way the 49ers win this game is if they do what the Bucs did in that Super Bowl, and they just gave Patrick Mahomes absolutely no time to throw the ball.
Mhm.
I mean, they got after him. And I remember it was such a surreal thing because to that point, all I had experienced with Patrick Mahomes, most people had experienced with Patrick Mahomes was like, this guy's a wizard. He can do anything.
Sure.
And he never got it going. Like I just kept waiting, like, okay, well, this is going to be the drive where it all comes together. And that drive never happened. I mean, Tom Brady was inevitable and in a way that I didn't think he would be.
But is Patrick Mahomes now the new inevitable?
No, well, no, I think Mahomes was also injured in that Super Bowl, and their left tackle was dead to the world.
Yeah, there were some circumstances
They
in
had
play.
some offensive line injuries.
This is the one I bet on the Chiefs. This is why I have never forgiven the Chiefs.
Oh, so you're really going through it.
I am.
He's
Nice.
been going through it.
I can
It's,
see that.
they
I'm
really
so
need
sorry.
Tariq Hill, Brooke. Okay,
Yeah.
if
I'm so-
only.
I-
if only.
To me, what I think is the wildest thing about who the Chiefs are as a team now, with Spags basically being the MVP of this team. He should be the MVP of the Super Bowl if they win. Obviously, a coach or coordinator can't be the MVP. But when I think about the Chiefs season that I covered, their DC was Bob Sutton. And that man was the scapiest scapegoat that ever scapegoated. Like, he was so reviled by everyone associated with the Chiefs and in the Chiefs fandom. And it was just kind of like, all right, I'm covering a Big 12 team in the NFL. Like every single game is going to be a shootout. And now they've still got Patrick Mahomes, obviously. But this defense is why they're still here when the offense has been, working through itself all season. It's just wild the way that the tables have turned.
Are you surprised that the Chiefs have managed to convince the world they're underdogs?
No, that I'm not surprised that
back in
they've convinced
December,
it.
because back in December, a lot of people were writing off the Chiefs, and I guess they've taken it to heart. They found a different kind of way to win, even though Patrick Mahomes is still Patrick Mahomes, and they're going into this truly believing that somehow, some way, they're not the villain that people just don't think they're that good. It's hilarious to me.
That's, to me, that's what differentiates talented guys from like uber talented next tier superstars are the ones that can find like the one single tweet that says they suck, and like they're going to go out and they're going to prove that one person wrong, and that's all it takes. I mean, shoot, and sometimes I forget about it. Stupidly, I thought that when Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes were messing with Justin Tucker and like throwing his things out of the way, I was like, oh, this is going to activate Justin Tucker. He's going to go off. No, you moron.
The kicker's going to go off.
It's Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes that are like, oh, Justin Tucker's disrespected us.
Yes, there's disrespect.
Okay, no.
He left his helmet there.
I know you're not attacking me, but I'm going to take it personal here since there's a Tar Heel in the room, and that's what Tar Heels do. Yes. The Chiefs went 4-4 down the stretch. Now, I think the Chargers game they didn't try in.
No, they didn't.
Okay, but let's not act like the Chiefs were like breathing fire and looking like they were on this path. Props to them. They have done the opposite of 2019 Virginia in these playoffs. They have beaten every good effing team in the playoffs.
That's the thing.
That's what they've done. But in November and December,
sure.
I mean, they were going through it.
I am not trying to do revisionist history on where the Chiefs were back then.
But I think that's what they're interpreting it as from November and December, when people were telling them, you're struggling. You don't look like the team that plows to the Super Bowl. You look like a team that's about to go home to the Dolphins. You look like a team that's
they were never going home to the Dolphins.
You look like a team that's about to go home to the Bills.
Okay.
You look like a team that's about to lose to the Ravens.
Gotcha.
So they've kept all of those receipts.
What were people supposed to say?
That's what I'm saying.
Like that's what I think is just so interesting about Travis Kelce getting mad on his podcast about people talking about the receivers and blaming the media for bringing it up. Like, man, we all have eyes.
We all watch. We watch Patrick Mahomes lose his mind over it.
Exactly.
So yes.
But I think that the thing about the Chiefs is that no matter what happens in the regular season, if they get to the postseason, if they get to the playoffs, they've been there, they've done that. That's what makes the difference for them this year when they had to go on the road and win, was that no, they had never gone on the road before, but they'd won a lot of playoff games with this core group. And that's what ended up making the difference. And that's why, like, my heart wants the 49ers to win because I want a new storyline. I'm not ready.
No, your heart wants the 49ers to win so that I win money.
No.
Sure. You know what? That I will make that my other reason for you.
I am against all of that. I'm against you winning money.
Why do you?
No, you're not. You're not against Christian McCaffrey winning the Super Bowl.
No.
That's the only part you want.
But here's the thing: I don't want that because it's not going to be about Christian McCaffrey.
You're
winning
right.
the Super Bowl.
You're right. You're right.
It's not going to be about Brock Purdy. It's not going to be about Steve Wilkes.
You're
hey man, good for Steve Wilkes.
Yeah.
Which I have a little clip here because your headphones work. I want to play this clip.
Good.
I got double clips related to the craptacular nature that is the Carolina Panthers. But
I'm so
I got a twofer. I'll play it again. I'll play it again. I don't care. But the reason why I don't want the 49ers to win is because I am not ready for the Purdy apocalypse. We're going to
have that regardless. We are doomed to Purdy discourse for the next 10 months.
How did we get here?
It's your employer's fault. I'm not going
to lie.
And
how did we get here?
Sorry.
Because you're on the production meetings. How did you get here?
No, nobody asks my opinion because if it were up to me, we would not have everything in these absolute arguments.
Right.
Like, it's wild that guys can't just be like good. That you either have to be.
Yes.
And here's, I was thinking about this on my drive. Apparently I just do a lot of pondering when I drive, but I was thinking about the fact, like, I've covered some bad quarterbacks with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, I've covered Kenny Pickett, who has not been good at all. And the Steelers would be thrilled if he could be like Brock Purdy. Like, they could win if he was Brock Purdy, if he made throws that got the ball in the hands of the playmakers, got them out in space, got them in a position to get some yak. I mean, the Steelers were a playoff team with Mason Rudolph. Like, you don't have to have Patrick Mahomes. Like, it's okay if not every quarterback is Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. Like, it, to me, these two teams are they should represent the fact that, like, you can build teams in different ways and have equal kinds of success. But instead, the Super Bowl is going to the conversation afterward is either going to be, see, the only way you can win is if you have Patrick Mahomes. And then the other side is going to be, look at Brock Purdy. He actually is really good. Maybe he's not a game manager. It's like, no, but game manager is fine. That's okay.
Look, I give props to Cam Newton, who's managed to get himself in the media churn by having his conversations about game managers and trying to explain what a game manager is. Sheena Quick, who covers the Carolina Panthers for Fox Sports AM out of Charlotte. I think there's a TV station that she works for, but she's all over the Panthers beat, and she's at the Super Bowl, and she got in front of Christian McCaffrey. And I'm going to pull this up on StreamYard here so you can get the audio. You can hear the audio, right? Your headphones are working?
They are. They sure
okay,
are.
so you should be able to hear this Christian McCaffrey. So, yeah, Sheena asks Christian McCaffrey about Brock Purdy, the game manager headlines. And here's what Christian McCaffrey had to say.
Christian, you played with two quarterbacks that have been pretty much underrated. First, Cam in Carolina, now Brock here in San Francisco. Can you talk about some of the similarities of those two competitors?
Yeah, Brock and Cam, they look alike, they play alike. I think there's a lot of different similarities. I think both of them have that underdog mentality at all times. And both can carry a big chip on their shoulder. Both great leaders and winners.
That's so diplomatic from Christian McCaffrey.
I want to hear did he say they look alike?
She couldn't see him.
Yeah, you couldn't see him. He was clearly smiling and laughing.
Okay, that's what I assumed.
Yeah, he was having fun.
I want to make sure my headphones didn't quit.
I mean,
working
unless Cam Newton looks like Lee Harvey Oswald, I wasn't aware of.
I have no comment on that.
Look, it actually all ties in with the CIA government psyop, if you think about it. Because look, if you believe that JFK was an inside job and Lee Harvey Oswald was part of that, and Taylor Swift is also part of a government psyop, the Super Bowl is one gigantic psyop.
I also saw what I think is an RFK Jr. campaign bus on my way over here, a giant American flag Kennedy bus in the parking lot near the Torchies and Cava.
It all makes sense.
Yeah, now I'm really concerned.
It's all coming together.
The deep state is deep stating.
No, but to your point, and you live this in Pittsburgh because the thirst levels for the next quarterback to take over get you to a point where you really start saying some ridiculous things about the QBs.
Mason Rudolph. I mean, he's got a chance.
He's got a chance, guys.
Here,
Arthur Smith's gonna cook it up.
Ooh.
It's just the discourse around quarterbacks is just, it's driving me insane because it's not enough to just be good. Like, you have to be a game changer in this current climate. And I don't, like, on the one hand, yes, that is the way that offenses are trending.
Mm-hmm.
But because so many are trending that way, I'd like to see more teams, honestly, do what the Steelers have been doing with having a really good defense and a strong run game that allows you to have a balanced offense.
Sure.
Unfortunately, the Steelers' track record building a team that way isn't great in the playoffs, but to me, that's more a function of the offensive coordinator not utilizing the weapons that he has and the defense getting incredibly injured down the stretch. I mean, I think if you have TJ Watt in that Bills game, there's a non-zero chance the Steelers actually find a way to win that. And I know that just kind of feels insane to say out loud, but I think that is enough to be a difference maker. And that I would like to see more teams decline to have an arms race on the offense because offensive scoring is going down. I mean, it's with all of these crazy good quarterbacks, the trend is still year over year, scoring production is dropping. So let's see some more teams zig instead of zagging and build up some defensive superpowers.
Yeah, it's funny. The Panthers had that identity. Defense, run the ball when Steve Wilkes was the interim head coach. And of course, that offensive arms race that you talk about is what led to, let's go all in on Bryce Young. We're going to bring in this all-star cast of characters for the offense. And it didn't work out. And clearly Steve Wilkes is not really over this because we'll go back to Sheena. She's at the Super Bowl and she asked Steve Wilkes if he was bitter about how things shook out in Carolina. Listen carefully.
I'm not bitter. Everything's a learning experience for me. I learned a lot there. A lot what not to do. Learned a lot of what it looks like or what it should look like, particularly coming here. There's so much respect that I have for this organization. The York family, starting with Jed, they do it the right way. Just completely how they run the organization. And really giving Cal and John everything they need to succeed, everything down to the meals, the food, how we travel. It's just top notch.
So that's Steve Wilkes, former defensive coordinator, interim head coach for the Carolina Panthers, who said learned what not to do.
I was gonna say that was some real Jedi
Yeah. Yeah.
If you ain't for me, you're against me kind of stuff.
Which gets us to, well, what did he learn not to do
Sorry.
with a Sith only
That
speaks
was
in
a Sith
absolute
mindset right there, man.
So I'm thinking of like, oh man,
I'm not going to talk shit about David Tepper, but I am going to praise the hell
I
out of
was,
these guys.
that was, I mean, even at the end with like the travel and the
Uh-huh.
meals and stuff.
Uh-huh.
My goodness.
Uh-huh.
He basically should have just called the Carolina Panthers a poverty franchise.
That's exactly what he
is,
said.
he could have just saved a whole lot of words.
Speaking of poverty franchises, I felt like Matt Rule and the Carolina Panthers were meant for each other in that regard because Matt Rule continues to be a poverty college football coach at Nebraska, another institution that used to be something. And Rule, look, man, we used to have a bit with Matt Rule, and eventually we moved on because Matt Rule, no, it doesn't really matter to the Carolina Panthers anymore. I think fans just want to move on.
But to
But
forget that happened, yeah.
never underestimate Matt Rule's ability to turn what is happening in the NFL into himself, right? He takes credit for everything. He's taking credit for Christian McCaffrey. He's taking credit for all these situations. And now he's managed to take credit for Brock Purdy. Oh, well, you didn't hear this?
I have not heard this.
Oh, this was
no.
signing day. Signing day was this week.
Oh.
By the way, that's one thing about
So
radio I
weird.
don't miss. Having to like pretend I care about signing day in February. Regardless, here is Matt Rule, and he has this little nugget about Brock Purdy.
I think Brock Purdy's an amazing player because I played against him at Iowa State. When I was in the draft room at Carolina, I brought his name up. I said, hey, guys, he should be on the draft board. I got vetoed on that one, but you can ask Coop. But I think, we used to tell our guys when we're playing Brock Purdy, we're like, do not fall for his pump fake, right? Because Brock will come out, he'd pump fake. And first game, he's 10 yards down the field, he pump fakes, our DBs are jumping. I'm like, he's past the line of scrimmage. So a lot of respect for Brock.
I knew it. I had him on the board.
Do you want me to do this now or you want me to wait for Brownlow?
Just do it now. We'll bring it again for Brownlow.
Okay. All right. This is so completely and totally disingenuous.
Of course it is.
Because in 2002, when Brock Purdy was the last pick of the draft, the Carolina Panthers traded a fourth round pick and a third round pick in 2023 for the right to move up into the third round to take Matt Corral. Okay. They
Where's
traded
he right now.
They traded up to take Matt Corral. They traded assets to take Matt Corral. You might be thinking to yourself, well, Joe, why didn't Matt Rule just use his third round pick on Matt Corral?
He got vetoed, Joe. He got vetoed.
No. It's not that. Well, let's think about it, though.
Tortured football genius department.
Why didn't he have his third round pick? Well, because the Panthers traded their third round pick that year to the Jacksonville Jaguars for CJ Henderson.
Oh.
Well, now you're thinking, okay, cool. But yeah, if he really loved him and he knew what this guy was going to be, he really should have taken a chance on him. Well, that's what he did in 2021 at the draft. He traded 3 total picks to the Jets for Sam Arnold. So Sam Darnold. So 2 different times.
Sam Arnold.
Yeah, the Dan Arnold was the draft pick, was the player traded in CJ Anderson, actually. So 2 different times he made significant draft capital trades for a quarterback.
Yeah.
2 different times, including in 2002. So in 2002, they take Matt Corral. Now they don't have another pick. They have the 4th round, 6th round, and 7th round. Can you imagine even David Tepper, even this idiot, isn't going to sit here and be like, well, we have Darnold on the roster. Well, we just took Matt Corral and traded a bunch of assets for him. What do we need? Another quarterback. That's what we need. Even if it's not even Tepper is going to be like.
Also, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's follow this to the logical end. Okay, Brooke, you ready for this?
I don't think we do logic, but sure.
No. Let's strip all those draft maneuvers out of it, and let's say in this timeline, in this Panthers Marvel Cinematic Universe timeline, they do end up with Brock Purdy. Based on what we know about Matt Rule and his quarterback development, what makes you think he would work in whatever you were doing, man? The whole reason why Brock Purdy's able to do what he's doing is because of this Kyle Shanahan system that everybody's salivating over. What the hell did you do to make you think that would work for you? Oh, but I got vetoed. Oh, yeah, what could have been? I got vetoed. I love this guy, man.
I mean,
I love Matt Rule. He takes credit for everything. It's amazing.
Well, it is that. I mean, that's a go-to thing where you can be like, I mean, I would have done this, except somebody else told me.
Oh, no. It'd basically be the equivalent of, I'm just thinking about this now, it would be the equivalent of me going, now this is a deep cut. It's like, hey, man, I always knew Steve Bellisari was going to be a big deal at Ohio State. Always knew that. You know why? Because I played Little League Baseball with him back in Boca Raton. Went to Boca High with him. I knew he was something. I mean, mind you, I hit a home run off him in Little League, but that's neither here nor there. I knew he had the talent to be quarterback. I knew he'd get a scholarship. I mean, that's what that is.
Yeah.
That's what that is. Anyway.
I mean, look, he's got to be a salesman. He's got to sign guys. He's got to make them believe that they can be the next Brock Purdy
From Justin,
an NFL coach.
From Justin on
Because
YouTube. Why does it feel like Rule is just a Kevin James character starring in an Adam Sandler film?
Matt Rule, Mall Cop. I would watch that.
Before we say goodbye, you got thoughts on the heels before we transition to basketball?
I mean,
you were there for that Clemson thing.
Now I know what happened. Your recent track record has been when you're in attendance.
No. Because Teddy, when I came home, said the same thing. His friend told him that I'm not allowed to go to Carolina games anymore. Until this Clemson game, I was 3-0 for Carolina athletics events that I've attended in 23-24.
No, I understand that. I listened and it was like, oh, really? You saw Carolina football beat Miami? Like, no shit. They always beat Miami. That doesn't count.
That's true. But usually my jinx overpowers that. And so I saw.
And what was the other layup that you saw?
I saw Pitt. I saw them play at Pitt, which was
football?
Tough. Basketball.
Okay, that was a good one. That was legit.
Thank you. And I saw them beat Wake Forest at the Smith Center.
My Demon Deacons. Thank you. Yes.
Your Demon Deacons.
Yeah, we got to get you.
Long story.
Do I need to order something from Home Field for you?
Yes.
From
Matt Davis. It's like, hey, you want to go to the Duke game on Monday? I'm like, maybe. He's like, they're playing Wake. Like, you can see your favorite roster.
Go.
That's what I'm
I was gonna say you're gonna want to go for that one.
You've been busy in the NFL world. I said before Wake and Carolina played that I would take Wake's roster over Carolina's roster, and it triggered a lot of people.
Yeah,
I'm really glad that I was in my NFL world because I
probably for the best.
Are you a Baycott stan?
No, I really like RJ Davis. He's my guy. I bought his NIL shirt, so I hope he enjoyed that $5 or whatever it is that it got him. I like the Carolina roster a lot.
No, we like the roster
team.
I
think they outperform the sum of their parts.
Yeah, it's a good team.
Yeah, it's a good team. That Clemson loss was painful. I knew there was going to be a Duke hangover, but that was like a hangover that I have now at 32 and not the kind I had at like 21 where I could just pop back up the next morning. Like that was a multi-day hangover. Yeah. They did not feel normal until 10 p.m.
Wait till he gets 48.
Teddy says you have the Baycott shirt as well. So
I do. I do have the Baycott shirt as well.
There you go. All right.
He knows my wardrobe better than I do. That's a good husband.
All right, Brooke. We appreciate you hanging out. Thanks for hanging out. Always fun. Enjoy the Taylor Swift Super Bowl while you do the trending thing. That you're doing with the ESPN?
I'm doing the live blog on the website.
Very excited
because I know that people love a live blog because that's why I go to Twitter when you could just read my thoughts.
Blogs are back. I don't know who told you. I don't know if you knew this or not, but blogs are back.
I did not know that.
Blogs are back.
2024, the year.
Bundles are back. Vinyl's back.
Bundles
back, and blogs.
I like that. It's a whole lot of bees.
It is.
The year of Brooke.
We'll talk to you later.
I like the bass. Slap at the bass.
Shout out to Brian over at Nice Price. I put him on task. I'm like, all right, dude, I need some new rights-free bumps. What do we got? That was one of them. Big thanks to Brooke Pryor for hanging out with us. Brian Lowe's going to be in here in a second. In the meantime, we want to direct you to breakingtea.com/OG. Again, that's breakingtea.com/OG. You can get some new OG merch. For those who have purchased stuff before, we appreciate you buying OG merch and repping the brand. I was on with Packer and Taylor Tannenbaum on ACC PM yesterday. I was rocking the Breaking Tea Ice Caps hoodie because you got to be a billboard for yourself sometimes. So rep the brand, right?
If you don't promote us, who will?
Right. Somebody's got to promote us. And we're really we are the promotional department. But we got a new shirt tentatively scheduled for next week to get hype for the tournament. You ready, Joe?
I am ready.
I know Jamie had sent me the the prototype. I'm just going to give people who are watching live a preview of what we got here, but it is the Dead Conference t-shirt. I'm very excited about this. So we should be dropping that next week, hopefully. T-shirts, hoodies, youth shirts, all that fun stuff. Also, we have a rebrand. We have a rebrand on podcasts. Actually, two rebrands. We have Young Gun, done. It's now This team is killing us, a Carolina Panthers podcast. I want a special edition on what Steve Wilkes said and what Matt Rule said, just for Dimitri and Lauren to talk about. And then we have the OG Gambling Syndicate.
Yeah, Anna did such a great job with the logo that I was like, I got to bring it back.
Bring what back? The podcast?
Gambling. Yeah.
Well,
I like my golf picks.
Well, it's funny though, is I've been talking to you. I want to talk to you about doing more social media related to, because a lot of the gambling stuff is more social media based.
Yeah.
Like people making you the main character and seeing if you can actually cash out on these 3 things going into the weekend.
I like that.
But ladder bets seem to be the hotness right now. And I've read way too much about ladder bets.
Okay. That does feel like a real time thing though.
No, it's all happening in real time where you have $30 to use and you break it up into units and then you see how much you can win down the line.
Look at you.
Right? I'm learning.
Look at you.
I better learn because coming up on March 11th, that's where we're at. All right, we got a big game. That means you want to get things catered. If you're watching live right now, you still have time to head on over to Longleaf Swine and order that big game pack. So go to their website. Again, today is the last day you can do it. All right. So if you're listening on the podcast Friday, don't. It's wrapped up. They've closed orders. So
you can always just go there for lunch.
You could do
Longleaf Swine.
I'll be there for lunch tomorrow, actually.
We'll be there today for a short beer.
Yeah, we will. Your little short beers, which turn into 6 of them.
No. They don't count.
It's like back in the day when I was trying to lose weight. Oh, these Snackwell cookies. They're low fat.
50 calories.
Who cares?
Just had 8 of them.
And I just ate the whole box. Anyway, Longleaf does amazing barbecue, great brisket. And of course, for dinner, they break out the smash burgers, which are fantastic as well. The things that go into that are fantastic. The sides are great. And they got a great bourbon selection too. I mean, they got Blanton's.
They have the gold
Blanton
that I've never even knew was a real thing until I was there. So go check them out. They're on the corner of Edenton in person. They're open Wednesday through Sunday, lunch and then dinner. And then, yes, they have what they call the big game menu because they're not interested in being sued, but it's for your Super Bowl party. I don't care. There's no rules over here. Come and get me.
No, actually don't. We don't have a legal department.
we have one on retainer. Longleafswine.com. Go make your orders at longleafswine.com. The great snack and main menu and sides for your Super Bowl party.
Also, big thanks to Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. I've said bundling is big again, right? Mm-hmm. Bundling is back. You see all these outlets bundling their sports together. Well, you know what you can do? You can bundle with Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. Head on over to bugsbite.com. Again, that's bugsbite.com. And you can bundle and save, take care of your house, and more importantly, take care of your outside once the weather gets warmer, because when the mosquitoes are out, it's going to get real. But with Mosquito Authority, don't have to worry about that. All right, we will welcome Brownlow in here in a second as we're doing OG live on YouTube, as we do every Thursday starting at 2 o'clock. We got like moving parts and everything going
live.
So head on over to sleek-fleet.com. While Brownlow gets situated before we bring her on.
It's not the broken jacket zipper. We could have sold that on the internet if it was.
The broken jacket zipper.
She has a longer winter jacket
that's right.
where the zipper's broken and she can't take it off. She has to
literally
do a whole
climb
process.
Out of it. Yeah. Yes, she has to climb out of it. I don't know what happened to the microphone.
It could use a
little pick me up there, Lauren. So here, lift it up, please. Can you lift it up for me, please? Okay. All right. That's good. All right. Got to tighten that thing up. Anyway.
That one got me.
What happened to Wolfpack last night, man? Don't answer that. I can tell you.
Okay.
Free throws. Free throw awareness month started early for the Wolfpack.
Problematic, yes.
Yeah, no, I mean, seriously, here's the thing. They lose to Pitt. They shot better from 3. They had only 6 turnovers, had 16 points off of Pitt's turnovers. Points in the paint was a push. They ultimately shot better than Pitt, with the exception of one thing: free throws. They were terrible from the free throw line, and Kevin Keats said, look, man, what was it, 9 points? You keep everything the same with the exception of 9 points we were missing. They win that game right down to the intentional missed free throw to try to get a 3-point play, which that didn't even bounce right. That's how bad their free throw shooting was yesterday. Even when they were trying to miss on purpose, it didn't work for them. So the Pack now enter a 2-game road game stretch that will ultimately make or break their season.
Yeah, I think there's 2 different conversations that you can have about NC State. There's the one, if you want to talk about Kevin Keats and the attendance and all those other things and where NC State fans are, that's one conversation. But do you know what really happened to NC State last night? It's the same thing that I've been saying all season long. The difference between these teams 2 through 15 is minimal. And on a night where you go 6 of 15 from the free throw line, yeah, you're going to lose to another like-minded team like yours, like Pitt is. Pitt, by the way, on the bubble. Pitt has a win over Duke, by the way. So as we talk about teams who could play their way into the NCAA tournament, Pitt is in that conversation.
Yeah.
So, I get it. You want to get mad at something. If you're mad about Kevin Keats in year 7, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But you know what NC State did last year on their way to making the NCAA tournament? They lost to Pitt at home.
ACC Coach of the Year.
And they
Jeff
still made the NCAA tournament. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen to this team. But I think if you're getting yourself so ramped up and revved up over Kevin Keats, over the losing to Pitt and losing to Virginia Tech, these are good teams. Syracuse is a good team. These are all teams that they're in a group with.
Yeah.
Okay.
But do you understand that's the problem?
Okay, but that's all of college basketball. And that's what I'm trying to.
But that's not what State fans want to hear.
I get that, but they have to adjust their thinking because Carolina and Duke aren't Carolina and Duke anymore.
That's also part of this.
College basketball is. Right. We had San Diego State and Florida Atlantic in the Final Four last year because they were older teams. What has happened in college basketball? Okay. It used to be Duke, Carolina, Kansas, Kentucky got the top of the top 20 players. They got 18 of them. Maybe one went to Maryland. Maybe one went to UCLA.
Yeah.
And then the difference between players 21 and 221 is minimal. All right. Now you're taking all of the top 20 players or most of them and putting them in a G League. You're putting them somewhere else. They're not even in college basketball. So the only way to be good is to be old. And the only way to differentiate is not talent, is to have experience playing together. Yeah. That's the only way to do it. The difference between these teams is just minimal.
Let's bring Brownlow in here. What up, Brownlow? Turn your mic on. How are you?
Yeah, I was like, I'm not sure if my mic's supposed to be on.
No. You're here now. You're here now.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with pretty much everything Giglio's saying, but I also understand, as someone who's certainly stuck up for Keats a lot in the past, like I understand the frustration because it just feels like it's always something. Like if it's not the free throws, it's something else.
Sure.
Or it's just you look at their stats and you're like, oh, it's not that bad, but then they find a way to lose it anyway. And I get that that's just frustrating. And
yeah. I think they're two different conversations is what I'm saying. Like
right. I agree.
If you're thinking in 2024 that you're going to go out and hire Dustin May, and he's going to come in and get 2 back-to-back recruiting classes of 4 freshmen and then 4 sophomore, and they're going to develop over the next 5 years, and you're somehow going to go to the top of the ACC. That's not how it's going to happen.
I don't think that's what State fans want.
I think like
there's an older. No, Joe.
Yeah. I mean, I get what you're saying.
Don't make me show you the text from State fans. That's what they're older State fans are looking at that.
Here's the thing.
Yes.
Let me show you my text. Cool. I know who you text.
Yeah, but don't be dismissive.
I'm not.
That
no,
that doesn't exist.
I think you're being dismissive.
I'm not.
You are being dismissive in the attitude of what do you expect? That's all. That's ultimately that's not what I'm saying. That's what you're coming across.
That's not what I'm saying.
You're coming across as what do you expect? What do you want? I think what State fans want is not this shit, man. That's what they don't want.
I was going to say, I'm kind of between y'all in this.
Come on.
I genuinely feel I know what you're saying. I do. And I don't think you're saying anything wrong necessarily, but I also know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I don't think Giglio's saying don't expect to go to the tournament or compete at a higher level. I don't think Giglio's saying that necessarily, right? I don't think you're saying.
No, I agree with
Giglio,
you. I agree with you that college basketball is wholly different right now. But I also understand why State fans are apathetic to what's going on right now.
There's 2 different conversations. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about why you don't like Keats or people don't like Keats or they expect.
But the thing you need to figure out if it's results. If you're a fan and you're pissed, you need to ask yourself,
they were 7-4 yesterday, and people were still
that's
mad.
what I'm saying.
But
that's what I'm saying. Is it results or is it the way you're playing?
Look.
Which is it that you want to be better? Because you're not always going to get both. And I think that's some of what Giglio is saying. You can have a good coach in there that's not you're not always going to win. I know what y'all are both saying. I agree with you both on some level.
Thanks, Mom.
I really feel that way.
Okay, that's fine.
I think you're being a little too indignant on this point. Because I don't think that's what he's saying. That's not how I hear it.
I'm trying to do this in a way that I'm not going to go off into truth bomb mode on this. I'm trying to be as level-headed as I possibly can when it comes to this.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
In that I'm getting a little tired.
I know.
I'm getting a little tired of the general attitude of
there is this.
what do you expect? What do you want?
That's
You
not
want
what
to
I
be
said,
careful.
though.
But
No,
we're having
right.
two
You're
separate
tying
conversations.
You're
right?
tying that into
So the real issue here, the real issue for NC State is there is a complete lack of basketball culture at NC State right now.
There's a lack of ID. Yes.
Is that a Keats problem or is that an AD problem? I don't know.
It's probably both.
It's probably a little combination of both.
Is it a college? Yeah.
But
yeah.
So if it starts with the coach, it also comes from an athletic department that wants to give a shit about basketball.
Right.
And there are times where it does come across as NC State does not give a shit about basketball anymore. I mean,
yeah.
Okay.
You think so?
I think
I'm not arguing.
Okay. All right. So we can agree there. So if that's the attitude, I think like I agree with you in that there's two separate conversations, but people don't want to have your conversation anymore because they're fed up. And it's not just the old fans. It's also the young fans who have no reason to give a shit about basketball. Okay.
That's, I think, the bigger problem.
Because
I agree with that.
Like the last night, all right, I wasn't at the game last night, but you can see enough in the building from television. I know the old timers are there, man, because they still believe. You brought up FAU.
The old timers were there last night.
I think the old timers were there. But you brought up FAU and San Diego State and all that stuff. What don't they have that NC State has? Okay. So it's not the same thing. The expectations aren't the same thing. NC State actually has a history, and we can make fun of 1983 all we want. I agree with you. Maybe you should love up some other teams that have come through. It can't always be about 74. It can't always be about 73. But if you see the atrophy taking place at PNC Arena, that's when things do start to come together. And that every loss just reinforces the general attitude of why should I give a shit about NC State basketball?
No,
you see where I'm getting with this?
Sure, but I think this team pays for the sins of previous teams. This team was 7-4.
There's no doubt
going into last night's game. This is not a bad team. The team 2 years ago was bad.
Yeah,
where Kevin was out there making excuses about Manny Bates the whole time.
Yeah,
that was a bad team. This is a team that people get frustrated and they want to misremember and they want to generalize. His first team was good. His last year's team was good. He did not have NCAA results to support me saying they were good. Fair enough. But he did the two things that all state fans want. He beat Duke. He beat Carolina.
Yeah.
So now this year, this team is just, they're a lot like Pitt. They're a lot like Virginia Tech. They're a lot like all of these teams in a pot. And to your point, if you're NC State, you want to be out of the pot. You want to be better than everybody else.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that's not a reality on an annual basis for any program in college basketball. Look where Miami is this year.
Yeah.
Did Jim Larinaga forget how to coach?
No.
No, they've been dealing with injuries.
Did Jim Larinaga? No, but seriously.
No, you didn't forget how to coach.
They went to the Final Four last year. They lose Isaiah Wong and Justin Miller. Miller was a glue guy.
Yeah.
Wong was their best player.
Yeah, for sure.
But they bring back guys. They've spent a bunch of money. You don't think they spent a bunch of money to get Matthew Cleveland to go from Florida State to there?
Yeah.
They spent a bunch of money. They're not going to make the tournament. So the idea that there's a Tony Bennett or a Mike Bray, who got the hell out, by the way, out there, who's going to have a program that year over year, and you see their offense and you see their defense. Tony Bennett's going to get the hell out soon too, by the way. He might just drop the mic this year. So that's the thing. It's changed so much that the text to me was they need a home run hire. And it's like, who do you think
I don't
home
agree.
run?
I don't agree with that.
Do you know what else has changed?
They don't.
Do you know what else has changed? Legitimately, I see one of the comments is when they announced the next 5 years for the ACC tournament. Is there going to be an ACC tournament?
Yeah,
have
they announced that yet?
Probably in 5, but
I'm just saying,
much
like,
beyond that, I don't know.
Back in the old,
guess where it all is?
Where? Charlotte
And Greensboro.
Greensbury.
That's right.
So
Cry more.
back in the
Everyone else.
back in the old math for state in their hires, the Gottman hire, the Sydney hire, the Kevin's hire.
Yeah.
The old math was Duke and Carolina or this, and you'll never be able to compete. You have to figure out a way to compete with them.
Right.
And now you're now in a league. You're not going to get a coach from the Big Ten. You're not going to get a coach from the SEC. You're not going to get a coach from the Big East. They all have more stable situations than what we're looking at in the ACC right now.
No, that's a really good point. With
like,
the conference being,
yeah,
the conference situation being what
well,
it is.
Also, don't forget with Kevin and the NCAA stuff, like they're not going to go hire Will Wade, who's probably the right coach to hire. They might bring in Archie Miller. I mean, that's what, if you made me pick right now, if you told me they were going to fire Kevin Keatts, I would put money on Archie Miller being NC State's next coach. Like,
why did
the irony?
Why is the mischievous part of my, not mischievous completely, but like my brain just
the same
came
coach
up
who
with
told you you weren't good enough for him.
Right.
His alma mater.
Yeah,
He got humbled.
What about Julius Hodge?
He got humbled.
Jules from Harlem. I mean, Justin Gainey. I think the most. The most NC State thing ever.
I would love if Jules came here. I would pass out.
The most
joy.
NC State thing to ever happen would be if Tennessee runs the table. Ricky from Hickory decides to retire,
and then Justin
Gainey becomes the Tennessee.
Yeah, that would be the case.
Like, that would be the most NC State thing ever.
So the men's basketball tournament will be, I guess they had the announcement today. It's going to be from 25 through 29. It'll be Charlotte, Greensboro, Greensboro. I think that's part of the office deal. Remember
the money.
Yeah,
if you look at that list, you will see nary a non-North Carolina city on it.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to rowing, Lake Wheeler Park.
That's right. Every championship in North Carolina, baby.
And SMU in 2029, and that.
It's too bad the ACC can't finance itself on the tiers of all the schools located outside of North Carolina, because they would have an extra few million at least.
Yeah, everything is in North Carolina, and I guess that's what the money is
maybe
for.
If y'all states want to give them a ton of money, then maybe they'll come to you. Look, that's kind of how things work now.
Maybe the ACC Friday can get the TV out in 2029 for SMU, Cal, Stanford, and Wake Forest.
Jeez, please just
to wrap the conversation. To wrap the conversation on state, I think you and I are more on the same page than not. Okay,
I agree.
However, where I start to pull away and what gets me riled up is something that has been said forever around here when it comes to NC State basketball, right? And part of the reason why I get riled up about this stuff is because I know that when all four are good,
it's the best.
It's the best. And I just want all four to play some high-level basketball.
Listen,
as somebody pointed out, like when Bennett pointed on YouTube.
I got mad at State last night a little bit.
Yeah, I got mad at them too.
Don't do this. Just win a game like this.
Yeah. When Norlander said yesterday he wished he could do a story on State being a solid 3 seed, he has no idea how much I want that too. I mean, that's what it kind of comes down to. And I think the reason why so many people have just kind of ejected from NC State basketball is because it's been just kind of the same malaise.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that's what's happening.
It's not the same. Okay, let me be clear. It's not the same kind of bad at all, but it is a little bit Panthers-y in the sense that it's the same game you're seeing over and over again in slightly different variations, and you want to die inside.
No, and last night was another Herb Zone moment too.
Yeah.
Where it's just like you're not going to change certain people's minds.
But
you talk about financially, like think about this. Randy Woodson voted to take nickels from ESPN to take Stanford, Cal, and SMU. You really think he's going to give away pennies when he's getting ready to announce his retirement?
He's not.
In the next month, he's going to announce his retirement.
He's not.
So you add that in too. Like I think the conversations that are happening with NC State fans about Kevin and his future
don't understand that part.
Are one thing over here. The conversations that Boo and Randy are having are completely different.
Yep.
That gets to your question of what have they placed of importance on basketball? Do you know what the importance they placed on it? They spent millions of dollars fighting the NCAA.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they did. That's where they spent their money. And they basically told Kevin while they were doing that, don't cheat, don't do something stupid because we're going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's why we're in the situation that we're in. Does it change? Do those conversations change? Will we get closer to more people having that conversation? You'll need more nights like Wednesday. The real problem with basketball revenue is all of those season tickets are sold.
Yeah.
So it would take 5,000 to 8,000 people saying, I give up my lifetime rights because ...
Yeah, I can see
there's no I get what you're saying. There's it might be embarrassing, but there's no financial incentive on a drastic level right now, unless some big donor at some point comes out and says, I've had enough.
And guess who that big donor absolutely loves, by the way,
That's
because
what I was thinking.
He was at UNCW, which his daughter loves. So Again, we can sit here and talk about how you're frustrated. We can sit here and talk about expectations. We can talk about problems.
Yep.
We can talk about a lack of ID. That's the biggest problem.
Yes.
Number one, lack of ID. Number two, the best players that he ever recruited.
Basketball, Carolina football.
No, because they don't ever have good recruiting classes. That's his second problem.
Right.
The best players he's recruited
100%.
have never played.
Haven't played.
I was thinking more of the
including MJ
Gottfried
Rice
era
this year.
when
So
they
you're
got
like,
ranked and stuff and whatever. But yeah, you're right. This one hasn't had that.
No.
This tenure.
All right. We ran out of time for other basketball things, but I did want to bring this to
what do the
Brownlows.
Heels got?
They have Miami.
I'm
on
down
Saturday.
there.
My
That's a
concern
tough game.
level for them is not nothing. I'm just saying.
I think
they're in a bit of a funk. Do I think they can get out of it? Of
I
course.
think, I think they can
Nothing
get
that
out of
little
it.
everything
defense
is a
can't
little
fix that.
off for them
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Like I felt that way since the Florida State game. Frankly,
It's funny.
They've played
That's
like
when I
one good
placed the
half.
bet, by the way.
I was
then.
I was listening to the Field of 68. I was listening to the Field of 68 podcast. John Henson was on it, and they were talking about that Clemson game. And Jeff Goodman brought up, like, hey, man, I mean, you beat Duke. You know it's a party. And I thought it was funny that John Henson went, yeah, you see, when I beat Duke, we were lucky to get a $20 bottle of vodka or something like that, hang out in the dorm room and drink. With NIL,
$20.
you're popping bottles,
Wait.
you're doing this and that.
Okay, John.
That's just what he
Hey,
said.
they got
That's-
money.
That's what he said.
Yeah, but like you're telling
I'm
me they
thinking
didn't
John
go
Henson is-
out after John
right.
Henson after in 2012 when
Yeah,
that
I'm
team was like getting Carolina basketball like good again.
Right,
Are you serious? Nah.
Well, it's funny. You joked about your favorite player being Shush, right? Ilya Netemov. But I remember Ilya Netemov had that Euro money. And I remember the basketball, because, man, I was in school around that time. So I remember when they would go party,
I was going to say, we
had
all
the
went
cars.
to school with athletes. So
yeah,
that's the
they
thing.
had the cars, right? But I thought John Henson's point was very good. He's like, I mean, they got money. They can party. They can do the things, all that kind of
And
stuff.
they're all like 25 years old.
Right,
By the
they're
way,
all
like
old.
Cormac Ryan and Armando Baycott are like my age.
Right. So there was a little bit of a hangover there. And that's why I'm not sweating Carolina.
No, this
honestly.
is a tough trip.
I don't know.
I think
We'll
this is
see.
a tough trip.
Their
All right.
defense
This
has
is-
been on the struggle
that's
bus
where
too,
it
and
is.
that's the
Yeah.
bigger issue.
Yeah.
That and now on offense, there's a lot more standing and watching than there. The offense is regressing some, and the defense is too. That's my concern.
Defense.
Personally, we'll see.
16-1 when they give up 80 points or more. 80 points or less.
Yeah, I
16
was
and
like, whoa.
1-5 when they give up 80 or more.
Yeah, I mean it's.
And then Duke wins last night, which that's what I expected. John Shire talked about having an old school Duke day. Basically, we're not having meetings. We're just having the guys blue and white. We're playing each other. We're not bringing the scout team out or any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Get them all worked up. And look, they came out the way you want to see them come out against Notre Dame last night. But there's one big problem still, and that's Kyle Filipowski, who's struggling through it. And
His energy was better last night.
but
I
his
thought.
face wasn't. And
Maybe it's just his face.
Well,
We
Josh-
do have to entertain. No, you know.
If anyone knows about bad face.
well, Josh Graham sent
me.
us. Josh Graham sent this to us.
Shire.
Well, but I
Yeah, Shire knows all
I don't
about that.
hide my feelings. I'm
Right,
like,
right.
Shire just makes insane faces by accident when he's playing, which I also do, by the way.
So
Not like Shire.
our
but-
friend Josh Graham sent this to us last night. Kyle Filipowski, while speaking about his frustrations of being in foul trouble, admits, my face can show a different expression
Aw.
than the one that I'm trying to show. Here's the audio.
You know, sometimes my face can still show a different expression, and that I'm not really trying to show. I'm just trying to be like, don't overreact, don't say nothing stupid or show any of that sign. So that's why I'm just trying to keep a straight face.
Did you feel that, Brownlow?
I understand that so much. What he doesn't realize is I think he's trying so hard not to like argue too, because he argues some too. And I don't think, by the way, that doesn't help because sometimes the refs get a thing with a guy. Like I think they have a little thing with Cadeau, to be honest.
You think so?
Yeah, I think they don't. The more you like whine at them, the less they like it. And so I think it almost builds on itself because you get mad, you think they're like screwing you and out to get you, and then the refs start to get annoyed with you too.
Okay.
And I think I used to watch those things quite carefully of how the players interact with the refs. Let me tell you, the ones that don't interact with the refs generally don't get very good calls.
Okay.
You got to go yuck it up with them. There's this, like, you watch Duke, and I'm not saying this for hot takes. This is a thing they've always done really well because referees are what? They're humans.
Mhm.
So they love up the refs, all of them individually, like usually before games, talk to them, probably ask them about their life and stuff. And Carolina guys do this too. You see it, like people, I'm just saying. And I mean, like they're human beings. If they
Tendencies.
like you,
Tendencies.
Yes, never
Oh,
forget the
Listen,
tendencies.
Poor Richard Howell. And this is the I should call this the Richard Howell discussion because it really all. But there are some dudes that you can tell refs just kind of get like a bit of a hard on for, right? It's a thing.
That's one way of putting it.
I'm not like where
Did
you're
they
like,
have a smoothie?
wow. You're like, wow, that actually
had
wasn't
mine.
a foul. And like some of them are foul prone, but you're like, wow, that wasn't even a foul that time.
You know
Poor
what?
guy.
I think I got this going through my veins. That's why I'm fired up, and that's why I was in an argumentative mood. All right, Brownlow.
I'd be argument.
Yeah, well, actually, I'm about to get you argumentative. We've played this clip earlier.
Oh no.
We played this clip earlier.
Uh-oh.
We had Brooks' thoughts on this, but we
Okay.
really need this. We need thoughts from you
Okay.
on this.
Got it.
Our friend Matt Rule had his signing day press conference. Have you seen this?
I've heard about what he had to say.
Okay,
Mhm,
so
I
while
sure
he's-
have.
Your
Well, he's-
reaction's been specifically requested
So
by
while-
our audience.
So while he was talking about signing day, I guess somebody had asked him about Brock Purdy because he had seen Brock
I
Purdy.
still don't know how this happened because Brock Purdy went to Iowa State. Like,
No,
is,
it
is the kid
definitely
they just got from Iowa, the Raiola kid?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe they asked about, oh, here's another guy from Iowa.
Yeah.
Listen, Giglio, the whole thing definitely happened. So it's
here's
fine.
here's Matt Rule.
I think Brock Purdy's an amazing player because I played against him at Iowa State. When I was in the draft room at Carolina, I brought his name up. I said, hey, guys, he should be on the draft board. I got vetoed on that one, but you can ask Coop.
I got
vetoed on that one.
props to
Wow.
Candace Cooper who called it from the jump. The faster he talks,
Yes, it's a lie.
the more he's lying.
Absolutely. The thing is, a lot of things have come out of that man's mouth since being fired. They have varying degrees of truthiness
Yeah,
to
they
them,
do.
and the thing is, this is a clown organization. We all understand that.
Mhm.
If you told me that, and by the way, am I supposed to be upset that they didn't want to draft Brock Purdy? Am I supposed to feel better about the Matt Rule tenure when we look back in hindsight and go, wow, he missed the franchise quarterback? You know what?
Mhm.
Matt Rule did a great job developing quarterbacks in his tenure. So really, if he'd just gotten a game manager in there, things would have worked out a lot better, especially with all of the talent he brought in from Temple and Baylor and other places. And the talent that was already there that he didn't get rid of and raise to the ground and trade elsewhere. Yeah, that talent. It would have been great for Brock Purdy to dump it off to, Chuba Hubbard this year. He would have done great things. And I love Chuba. Okay. This is not a knock on Chuba. That's not what I'm trying to say. So, like, really, bro, you kind of clowned yourself twice because we all know you're lying. A, like, come on. And then B, even if you weren't lying, like, I mean,
From
dude went
Joe.
a while without being drafted. Like, it's not like other teams thought he was great.
From Joe Corey on YouTube, Matt had Baker Mayfield and didn't get into the playoffs.
Like,
Baker Mayfield did get to the
sit
playoffs.
down, Matt. Yeah,
Got
he
to the
just
playoffs.
did. And he said, because I needed to go to an organization that knew how to put me in a position to
It's-
succeed. There aren't many of them. And he was not just at one with Matt Rule there, helming it up, right? At the helm,
All right,
steering the ship into whatever. Okay, sorry.
mission accomplished. Got exactly what I was looking for.
Just this guy.
All right,
man.
clip it, save it, Instagram Reels. Here we go.
Every time I'm ready to move on.
No, you can't. He won't let you.
Just when I'm
What a
ready to get
freaking
out.
won't-
charlatan. That
He
man
just
is.
will not let you. All right, bro, get out of here.
All right.
All right, big thanks to Breeze Through for sponsoring Ovies and Giglio. Check them out. Various locations across the triangle and across the state. Most importantly, yes, they have great coffee. Yes, they have great snacks. They have a beer cave outside PNC Arena. And the most important thing about Breeze Through, Joe?
They have gas.
They have gas. Huzzah!
Who knew? Not me.
Also, big thanks to Butcher's Market. We were there last week, their new location in Lake Boone Shopping Plaza. Fantastic spot.
Yeah.
Real big fan of it. You got, hey, look, Super Bowl is this Sunday, right? I'm just stating a fact that the Super Bowl is this Sunday. And maybe, just maybe, you want some wings. You want hot dogs. You want all sorts of stuff.
I had a hot dog there. That's the first time I've been to a location that make the hot dogs.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's the good stuff, isn't
So
it?
good.
It's the good stuff. So head on over to Butcher's Market. Fantastic stuff. Prepared meals, all that. We appreciate them sponsoring Ovies and Giglio. I don't know. I feel like the jazzy vibe is perfect for Mike Maniscalco on the Heister Automotive Group hotline. He just came back from Vegas, Park MGM. That was the vibe, right, Mike?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, the Nomad Bar, a really good spot to go to.
So honestly, I don't even care if we talk about the Canes today because they play tonight. Cool.
I don't even care that the Canes are playing the best team in the NHL tonight.
As the play-by-play voice of the team, that's just, I mean,
Don't care.
Let's just face it. This is it. This is the pinnacle of what I do. So perfect.
No, we brought you on because, dude, you went to the Sphere in Vegas.
Yep.
The hell was that like?
It was. I have to just put it in these terms. As far as an event goes, I have seen Pink Floyd with the Gold Blazers because I grew up near Canada, so I could go across the border. And I saw them on the Division Bell tour. I saw U2 at Carter Finley with their, whatever
the 360 tour.
Craft, the
that
360 tour that they had. Yeah, I've seen the Stones twice, and they put on quite the show. But as far as an event, it was amazing. It really was. It was spectacular. Now, to be fair, to be honest, I have seen better U2 shows.
Okay.
I'm going to nitpick. Like, I've seen better performances. In fact, some of the people in my party were like, I think Bono's just mailing it in. Well, at $4 million a show, why not? You play the songs, you turn the mic to the crowd and let us sing it back to you and go on. But
they're doing it every night?
What's that?
Are they doing it every night?
Just about.
Whew.
It's like
I think they're. I mean, it's definitely like Wednesday, Friday, Saturday.
I was gonna say this is classic Giglio. Like anybody can podcast on a Monday. Hey man, anybody can belt out with or without you on a Monday.
That's right.
But by the time we're getting the mysterious ways on a Thursday, it's like, I don't know.
Well, and that's what they do. They play Octung Baby. They open up with that, and then they sprinkle in some older stuff or some covers, and then they kind of close it out with the hits, and away you go. But it is. It is a sight to see. It really is. It added to the experience. I'm glad I went. I don't think I need to see U2 again after this. I've seen them, like I said, a few times, so off the list. But it's going to be interesting what happens because whatever bands you bring in there, they have to have some kind of presentation, and they also have to have a following where if they're going to take a residency, they need to sell that place out every night.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So did they do Vertigo? And when they do Vertigo, did it induce vertigo with the game?
No, although there's in the beginning, there's two things that they do. There's one where the background's moving and it looks like the stage is going up. And if you're on the floor, and we were on the floor, you're sinking. So that's a little odd. Ooh. And then they do one where a bunch of numbers and letters start closing in on you like a cube. And if you get claustrophobic easily, that could be a little, what can I say, a little off-putting. But for me, it was fine. Gotcha.
So. The only other question I have about Vegas, I don't know about you, Joe, is because you were there a week before the Super Bowl, descended upon the Strip and everything else. Is Vegas the kind of city where the Super Bowl is there and it's lost in all the other things that are going on with Vegas, or would you expect an actual presence to be there?
Oh, no, there's a presence.
Okay.
I mean, I got there Thursday, and there was a huge auto dealers convention. Everybody was there. And Thursday was packed. Friday was kind of getaway day for the auto dealers. Normally Saturday in Vegas is just wall-to-wall people.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't. Sunday, you started to see the 49er fans matriculating around Las Vegas, but the presence is there. CBS basically blocked off the walkway in front of the Bellagio to set up their stage. Mm-hmm. So they're set up for the whole week. Everywhere you go, it was basically, we were there and we were watching all the roadies put everything together for, Univision and CBS and Fox and where everybody's going to be. And where it's all going to be set up. Mandalay Bay is going to be one of the headquarters, like the convention center there. So you saw a bunch of stuff moving in there, but you noticed it. I mean, the signs were everywhere up and down the Strip that the Super Bowl is coming, Allegiant Stadium. The great thing about Vegas, if you've ever been, is it's one giant optical illusion because everything looks like that's 40 feet away or 4 miles. So, but it's good. And it could get lost there, but I think that they've done a good job of making it again, I was there. I left Sunday, so there's a week. The buildup is now, but
Sure.
you definitely know that the Super Bowl is going to be there, and they are. I mean, merch everywhere, everywhere. So yeah, it's not like, oh yeah, by the way, there's a football game. Come sit down at the craps table, and here's the all-you-can-eat crab legs. It was all about it. The closer you got to Allegiant, really, the more you felt like, okay, yeah, they're going to be putting on the show for the Super Bowl.
So you're a total and complete professional, so I have no trepidation asking you these questions, but I would like to ask you about gambling.
Sure.
Because the Hurricanes are now going to be in the gambling business, and we've already seen some of this where, like, the people who work at the Backyard Bistro who are potentially involved in handling bets, guess what?
Mhm.
They have to pass a background check, right? The employees of the Carolina Hurricanes, there's certain restrictions to things that you can do. I'm just kind of curious, what kind of education were you given, even as a grown-ass man and as someone who works on the broadcast and can't potentially affect the outcome of games? I'm just kind of curious what kind of T's were crossed and I's were dotted. Like, did you tell them, hey, I'm going to Vegas? And they were like, okay, now don't take a ticket for the Hurricanes to win the Stanley Cup final? Or was it, I'm just curious.
When the sports gambling sites started to become a little bit more prolific in states that have pro sports, there was a meeting a few years ago, and basically it was, don't do this, and be smart if you are going to do this. Basically, don't wager on the National Hockey League. Don't wager on the place where you are getting a paycheck from. And that's how I look at it. I honestly, because for years, and I hate to bring up this because now Ovies and I can do the sports talk radio segment.
Yeah.
Should Pete Rose be in the Hall of Fame?
Terrible.
Brock Birdie, elite.
So I've got to go back to that. My stance was always, it was pretty clear. They told you that if you gambled and you got caught, you weren't coming back.
Yeah.
And that's basically the message that was sent, that if you gamble and you get caught, there are going to be repercussions. There are going to be very, very swift and strict punishments on people who get caught. And for me, and that's enough. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I like playing cards. I do like going to Vegas because I enjoy that gambling aspect of things. But as I have gotten older, I have my desire to wager on sports has become less and less, because the parity in pro sports now, and even in college sports, is so great where, you think, but I don't have that disposable income. So I'm not gonna go into it. But we were told, and I let the team know, but nobody was telling me, now remember, don't walk into, they at least trust me as an adult to make my own decisions. And
somebody has to.
But it's funny because I think it's educational because I think the NHL is learning from the NFL.
Yeah.
I saw James Smith-Williams this summer at an NC State event. He plays for the Washington football team. And, guys were getting suspended because they didn't know you're not allowed to bet from the team hotel. You're not allowed to bet from the team plane. Like, this isn't, Ridley betting on the Falcons. Like, these are guys like, I went to Alabama. I'm going to put Alabama in a parlay. And they're getting suspended 3-4 games. That's where, we had Don Waddell on, and I asked him the same kind of question. Like, you don't want your players getting a stupid freaking suspension over a NC State, North Carolina, Wake Forest, Duke basketball parlay.
But they had the ladder, man. They had that ladder bet kicking.
I mean, this has already hit the NHL.
No, I understand that. It's not here is what I'm
and I think part of it, it's unfortunate when I bring this up, and we're going to talk about the gambling aspect, but you almost need someone to do something so egregious that the league picks their head up and, what? Okay. And I think that was a warning sign that came early enough this year for the league to be like, well, okay, what did he do? And you never got really the full story of what happened, just that they did the investigation and it was tied to gambling. And that's why Pinto missed the first half of the season. But it's one of those situations where they have, it's like the NIL. I still think it's a fluid thing. Like, they're going to try to say what you can and can't do, and they're just going to be some guys who are like, "Oh, I didn't know that," or I didn't get the memo. So I think it will find its way here and there, but I think on a broad stroke, nobody is going to be betting on their team or betting on games.
All right, now I'll ask you a hockey question. The Hurricanes just took a break. I fully expected to see Andrei Svechnikov on the ice on Tuesday. I did not. Should I be alarmed, or are we still in let's protect Svech at all costs because we need him in April and May and June and not in January and February?
You answered it. I mean, you really did. You gave the answer. And for me, that's my answer. Because I think that you take a look, winning divisions is great, but you get to a point where getting to the playoffs and division banners, that's nice. That's not what you're playing for. You're playing to win the whole damn thing. And this team right now, in the 33 games that are left on the schedule, depending on when people are watching this, they're trying to get themselves peaked and ready for April, May, June.
Yeah.
That's the important thing. And they're going to have a heck of a lot better chance of winning the whole thing if they have Andrei Svechnikov healthy in April, May, and June. He's skating with the team. He's practicing. He's just wearing the non-contact jersey. And as Rod Brindamore pointed out yesterday at practice, it's really more for the other guys, not for him. Don't give him a shot, or, if you're in a battle drill and he just happens to pop up, just let him go do his thing. I expect that they want him to be ready. And I said this earlier today. I was doing an interview. I just brought up, I'm not saying that Andrei Svechnikov changes the Eastern Conference Final last year against the Florida Panthers, but it's probably not a 4-game sweep because he's probably going to score a goal of consequence in one of those 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I look at it. For this team, it's really about, they know how to get there. And I don't want to draw the NBA comparison because I know people are a little dissatisfied with the regular season in the NBA for most folks. But it's when you get to a point of you're expected to win the whole thing, you're building up for the playoffs. You want to win every game you play, but you want to be at your optimal best by the time game 1 of round 1 comes around. And that's what the Canes are looking for. And you don't want to put a guy like Andrei Svechnikov on the ice a week or 2 early if you don't need him right now. And if they were in the wild card or on the outside looking in, I mean, I'm not head athletic trainer of the Hurricanes, but would it be a different situation? Would he try to give it a go? Sure. They have the runway to let him just, okay, when do you feel good? When do you feel 100%? Put him back in the lineup because they know what he can do when he gets in.
We'll close on this. The Canes did not start the All-Star break, post-All-Star break, the way they wanted to. I'm sure that Peter Kochetkov, who I think folks are looking at, can you take the reins over? Let's go and do it. Obviously, he would like some back. As we joked about at the beginning of the conversation, oh, yeah, the best team is in the building tonight. We'll see how that goes. So, I mean, they got to be disappointed. I know Rod was disappointed after that. I mean, what's the temperature in the room after Tuesday's return to action? And obviously, they got a big game tonight. I get it, regular season, but you want to start getting this thing back up and running.
Yeah, especially at home. I mean, you want to win the home games and kind of, hold serve, especially when teams like Vancouver, Colorado, when the bigger teams out west come in, or, when Jersey's here on Saturday, even though we'll see the Whale return and we'll see those jerseys. A little excited about that. For me, it was the start to the game. And hockey can be a fickle mistress. You can play great and not get the rewards you should get, and then you can be playing a little bit off and you get a bounce. So you watch that first period. Vancouver was the better team in the first period, but it was tied after 1. Second period, game got a little bit more even. Canes got a little bit back to their game. Vancouver got to their game first in the first period. Canes started to get to their game, only gave up 4 shots in the second period, but Vancouver gets a lead late on the power play. Canes get an answer late on the power play. So now we're 2-2. Canes play their best period of hockey in the third period, but the puck hits a stanchion, takes a weird bounce past Pyotr Kochetkov, and then it ends up in the back of the net. So you can say, if this game was in reverse, Vancouver got what they deserved because of how they played in the first period. Canes didn't get what they deserved because of how well they played in the third period. So they came out of that one, I think, a little angry because they didn't get to the game the way they wanted to. Did you follow that, Joe? I got a small yellow pad here.
There's so much Chuck Amato to that. Yeah, if you play the first half, second half first.
Well, I didn't give us the, if the Canes didn't let Vancouver score those 3 goals, they would have won.
Yeah,
the
you
game.
don't, hold
They
on,
didn't
hold
go
on, wait,
full
wait, wait,
Bzdelic.
hold on, so let me find it. Let me find it.
Our radio people told us that you take away those runs, and we outscored them by 19. So
Yeah, we didn't get full Bzdelic, so that's good.
Take away that second Elias Lindholm goal. It's an even game.
But that was predictable, was it not?
Oh, man.
Lindholm back in the building. There it is. There's the yellow pad from Maniscalco.
There you go.
Love to see it. All right, man. We appreciate the time. Glad you survived Vegas. We will see you around the building.
Yeah, I'll be there. Thanks, guys.
Always fun hanging out with Mike Maniscalco. We appreciate him and his yellow pad. He's got his own yellow pad, Joe. That's so exciting.
I'm jealous. It was like perfect size, too.
It was a pocket size yellow pad. All right, we're going to wrap up our Sleek Fleet OG Live. Again, check them out, sleek-fleet.com. Ride in style, pre-plan. Everybody loves somebody who pre-plans. And we also want to thank Homefield for sponsoring Ovies and Giglio. Check them out. OG23 is the promo code to save 15% off your order. I am absolutely going to order some Wake Forest stuff for Joe. They're your deeks.
We have nothing. That's the
dude. Trust
right?
me.
App
Trust me.
State and Wake. I have ECU repping.
I need App
Got
State.
the heels. I guess we don't really have Duke.
No, we
Nope,
have
you
Duke.
Duke.
I got Duke stuff.
Okay.
I also have an old All-America Bowl.
That pin.
You're not dealing with not loving that pin?
That pin gives me bad like KKK leader vibes. Like that feels like a campaign button for David Duke.
All right, now I'm gonna have to get rid of it.
It scares me.
Anyway, big thanks to Homefield. Check them out online. Homefield. Why?
It's always
Why? God, Connor and the crew are gonna be like, "What are you guys doing?"
Hey,
What's
whatever
going
we're
on?
doing works
Yeah,
because
that's true.
those jackets are sold out, man.
Yeah, the jackets
you
did
can't get a
sell.
state
This is
jacket.
a good point.
You can't get a Carolina jacket.
Good point.
So people are hitting them up. They're using the promo code OG23, save 15%.
And whenever we get sued, we thank Whitaker and Hamer. So check them out.
They got our back.
They got our back. WH.lawyer, attorneys and counselors at law.
I was smart enough to put a line in the contracts with the ads like we can't cause them harm. So don't worry, I got that part covered.
Matt, we have, by the way, we have another satisfied customer. We'll talk about this a little bit more next week, but I wanted to give a shout out to Christian, who emailed us. And he said, I want to start off by saying, love the podcast. It gets me through my workouts, and you all putting things in context typically helps me ease my mood swings caused by being a State fan. I don't know if today's show is going to do that, but we try. Positive vibes only. But I wanted to let you know I've been listening about Matt Davis on your podcast for entirely way too long before I finally reached out, got married last October. Congrats. We reached out to him about consolidating our home insurance and car insurance, saved me literally thousands of dollars. And I got 2 tickets to the Canes game.
Costanza.
You love to see it. You absolutely love to see it. And hey, maybe we can convince you now that you're married. Who knows? Maybe you need a bigger house.
That's right.
Hometown Realty. Check them out. myhtr.com. Again, that's myhtr.com. All right, that's going to wrap it up for today. It's very chaotic and spirited. Sleek Fleet.
It's all good. I wasn't even
OG
drinking
Live.
today.
I know. So you want to, you know what? Let's go drink.
Let's get a shorty.
Let's go over to Longleaf. We'll see. Hey, if you're watching right now and you want to have a beer with us, that's where we're going to be. We're going to be over at Longleaf Swine in downtown Raleigh. We will see y'all later.